Sometimes after an episode of The Mandalorian is released, you'll see social media light up with statements like these. In fact, I was one of those people, and I'm here to tell you I was wrong.
Hey everybody! I'm a stupid moron with an ugly face and a big butt, and my butt smells, and I like to kiss my own butt.
Before I jump into why, let's be clear on the stories that fall into this category. They are episodes that are typically more driven by character moments than by advancing the central plot. In Season 1, Chapters 5, The Gunslinger, and 6, The Prisoner, and in Season 2, The Marshal and The Passenger have both been called filler, enough to be noticed. In the case of all 4 of these episodes, they feel very adventure of the week, and despite each being stylistically wonderful and great fun in isolation, especially The Gunslinger and The Prisoner had me worried that the show was leaning a little too heavily into the traditional Western genre. Protagonist goes to a new town, finds a villain, helps the locals, rides off into the sunset. I'm reminded of the first seasons of Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Fringe, both of which were so heavily reliant on this monster of the week formula. It's a style of TV storytelling as old as television itself, and one that largely fulfills the requirements of ad-selling network television, back when seasons of American shows ran for about 25 episodes apiece, and needed to fill enough story inside of that allotment. In the case of The Mandalorian, the character episodes allow us to see Mando making crucial missteps along his hero's journey. First trying to reject the call by leaving the child with others, then trying to make the child revolve around his life as it already is, and later meeting other characters that will help him get back on the path. They add a handful of villains to Mando's rogues gallery that can reappear later in the series, and further build the world around our protagonist. Saying it all aloud and concisely like this, it makes sense to how you'd tell a story, right? So why are these episodes considered filler?
Got it all memorized.
Why do I feel such concern when the show seems to pump the brakes on the central plot? I knew I felt lukewarm, but hadn't spent the time to figure out exactly why. But in rewatching Season 1 prior to the start of Season 2, I started to piece together why these episodes caused me to feel anxious about how the show was progressing, and I'm curious if anyone else had similar worries. If you did, let me know in the comments, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button to help us out. First issue I'm going to call the Game of Thrones effect. In a more adult-oriented show like Thrones, which follows a more strict 1-hour format, characters and their motivations tend to be explored in parallel to the main plot moving forward. But Game of Thrones may be an unfair bar for comparison. Like other recent popular shows such as Stranger Things, it features groups of protagonists that appear in nearly every episode, and an array of preset locations. This format allows for a blend of character stories to be told in one location.
Lady Aaron died 3 days ago.
While key plot stories are unfolding elsewhere on the map, all within the same episode. Achieving this in The Mandalorian would be difficult without a much larger cast of characters. As an extension of this, every studio and their dog has been trying to create the next Game of Thrones. Accordingly, this kind of large-scale storytelling has become a bit of a norm. Simultaneously, producers like Netflix are famous for cancelling shows as often as they fund them, and under Disney's leadership, Star Wars hasn't had a great track record for keeping its television shows running. The Clone Wars had extenuating circumstances but was cancelled before it could be completed. Rebels ended sooner than most expected, and Resistance only lasted 2 seasons. When I combine these points, and that The Mandalorian only has an 8-episode season, with some episodes barely breaking 30 minutes, and that we have to wait week to week, I think filler episode is just shorthand for, I'm worried the show won't grab people quickly enough because they're used to a different style of storytelling now, and I'm scared Disney will cancel it before it tells the story in the way it wants to tell it. The people genuinely love it, so maybe we all just need to relax a little. It isn't Game of Thrones, but it's not trying to be. It's a show about one Mandalorian, Din Djarin, on a quest of self-discovery while taking Baby Yoda, Grogu, back to his people. In going on this journey, there are of course always going to be big plot moments, but what good is an epic plot if it's happening around characters we barely know, that we haven't seen during quieter moments, living their lives, interacting with others when the stakes aren't so high? Moments like these land because we've seen Mando take Grogu through dangerous situations like an accessory rather than a priority. Revelations like this,
If these
experiments are to continue as requested, we would again require access to the donor.
Have an impact because we've witnessed Mando come to care for Grogu as his own when the Empire wasn't in their direct field of vision. The chapters that have been called filler give necessary breathing space between big plot advancements. They show us how the last big event changed our hero, and they inform how he'll react to the next big plot twist.
Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Without trying to cram it all into one episode. Could I necessarily see that the first time around while my hopes and dreams for the show were all so high? No. But on second viewing, The Mandalorian's methodical and purposeful storytelling is more apparent. Could character development be achieved in a more satisfying way more immediately? That's a topic for another video. Thanks for watching. If you like what we do, consider becoming a patron and you'll get access to some exclusive content and join the ranks of these absolute legends. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified of future episodes. See you next time.